So cool. Now we get that warm up going on. Now, you read this article that I wrote about the timing things, like the things in like seven, playing in seven time, playing in five time, because most music today is played in four or six, right? Can I do six? I keep messing six up. I keep doing that. I'm like, nope, it's six. I should just do this. Two threes, right?
Do
Six. This is people who play in 6/8, people who play in 4/8.
Right.
It's like this is like in the musician world, like this is the gang symbols. What are you doing? Oh, he's a four.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, all right. But there are other times. There's lots of different times. Five is actually a little bit on the common side, and so is seven. Um, there are songs in that I'll put a link in for other people so they can read it. But in that article, I cite a bunch of different songs that use five and seven, and some of those songs are pretty popular, pretty famous, but people don't realize that they're in weird times. They're in like unusual time. So we're gonna play in some of those odd times. So the first one we're gonna go about doing is this one in seven. Okay, and now there's a couple ways to look at this, right? We could just count. We can just strum this chord like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, the only problem with counting like that is that seven is two syllables. So we could say sev, or we could just count it a different way. But if we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So now we got this, we have this thing going on here. I'll turn this up a little bit. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? We're playing in seven now. So let's do that. So I'm playing an E, then a G, and then an A. Right? G, so third fret, and then fifth fret. Cool. So that's what I'm doing. We're just doing that. Let's just start with that strumming, that very simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So as you can feel, like there's like seven. We could take, like, if we're playing in six, we're just adding one to it, right? That's kind of how it is. It's like we could have this six and then just this extra one. So there's a couple of different ways. And here, actually, I'm going to pull up a little chart, show you. We're going to actually go at this thing right now. So here's a nice little chart here. And we're just doing that top one right now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And that's where we would start that. And then let's see. Okay. So we got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 1. But now we can play around with this thing, right? And now, do you know how this chart works?
I remember you showed it to me.
Okay. All right. So we're just kind of focused more on, like, each box is its own little note, right? Like we could always change this up. Let's say we decide that we're going to get rid of the black line, which means that now we're going to play, we're not going to hit the string there, right? So because of that, what happens is that that note will last longer. So let's say, boom, that's gone. So now when we play, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see how that works?
Yep.
right? So that black line just indicating where we're hitting the strings. And we can add it in, take it out whenever we want, you know, for the purpose of whatever rhythm we're doing. So this is a really good tool just to help create new rhythms or learn how to play a complicated rhythm or even a simple rhythm. All right. So now we can also take into account that when we're playing in 7/8, the eighth note is what we're counting. So
This is a thing you came up with, of course. It doesn't exist, right?
what? It
This
exists
chart.
now because I came up with it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is my own creation here.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
yeah. So yeah, this thing is pretty handy. All right. So we got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. Right. It's a little weird to count like that, but that now we're breaking it down into these smaller increments. So we could play more stuff inside that time. This is not a preferred way to count though, especially when we're playing in 7. So I'm going to show you one of the ways that would be better, helpful. Instead of playing 1 and, we could literally count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right? And that's this one here. Let me actually circle it so we can see. Ta-da, this one. Okay, so that's the one we're doing now. So we're just counting 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And because of that, now we've actually kind of changed the accent, right? When we're just counting 1 through 7, the accent's on 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 6, 7, 1. So you're going to put that accent on the 1, kind of show your starting point, right? That's when we're just counting that normal 1 through 7. But when we're counting like this, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, we're still putting the accents on 1. So we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So let's do that. I want you to remember we're going to accent that all the ones in this counting here. And take any chord you want and do that with right now.
So 1, 2, 1, 2.
Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a G for my 1, and everything else is going to be the E. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If we were doing that like on a clean setting or something, we could go like 1, 2. So I'm just going back between G and E minor. Here, I'll show you my hands. So now we're going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Don't forget that 3. So you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So there's the 2 2s and then the 1 3. That was it. But now the pause that you're putting in there at the end of 3 and then going back to 1, it actually puts it back into 4. Because what happens is that you're leaving that little piece out. And if you added one more to this, one more little count into this, it actually goes to 8. So by bringing it to 8, it's now we consider it 4. We don't really say 8. Oh, he's an 8 time because 8 cut in half is 4. So it's just easier to count to 4. Right? So you want to just make sure that you leave out that little gap. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Nice. That's pretty good. All right, so you kind of getting the feel of that, right?
Mhm.
Now we could always switch the counting around. If we don't like, say, why don't we start with 3 and then do the 1, 2, 1, 2, right? We just got to remember when we count it like that, all the ones are accents, right?
Mhm.
So you say, okay, there's too many accents in here, right? But let's not jump ahead. All right. So let's say we just switch the numbers around. So we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, right?
For some reason, when you play electric, I lose the sound.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
hear a little bit, but it does that. I don't know
Okay.
why.
All right. Well, either way, we have our 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
All right.
So we're just kind of flipping the accents, right? We're just kind of flipping where we're counting our 3 and our 2s. All right. So by doing that, we could change the rhythm. We could go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then we got to this really cool thing. All right. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that would be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. And now we got like this cool metal riff going on here, right? So I'll show you what the chords I'm using here. So I'm going A, 5th fret, 3rd fret, G, F sharp, 2nd fret. So that's my 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3.
So third fret, or what do you start? Fifth fret?
I start on A, which is 5th fret. Good. Then 3rd fret. Good. Then 2nd fret. Right. So that's my 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I go G for 1. For my second, for my 1, 2, I go G, E is my 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Give me the 1, 2, 1, 2 again.
It's G, 3rd fret, E. So 3, open. And and you just do that twice. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. There you go. That was it.
Okay.
So the rhythm, because when people are very used to playing in 4 and in 6, so they tend to try to fight the rhythm, right? And you get into this thing where you want to add a note somewhere to kind of fix what you feel is off, right? But that's the beauty of 7 is just let that new feel, come in. You know,
Mm.
it's like kind of like you gotta let that go. You know, it's like you're really just dropping something off. Because if we play in 4, we can count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's 8 technically. So if we just take off that and after 4, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and now we're in 7. So
Right.
it's like very close to 4, but we're just kind of cutting a little piece of it off at the end. Just that little and after 4, we're cutting that out, and it just kind of throws people off. But when we look at it from this point of view of counting it, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? It becomes a little bit easier to kind of shape it around in your head, like what you can do with this thing, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I hit the wrong chord there, but that would have sounded like 1, 2, 3. I've worked in a metal song, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. That'd be pretty cool intro to a song. All right, so see, now we're writing all these awesome songs. All right, so I want you to pick like 3 or 4 chords to switch between, and I want you to come up with your own chord progression using this 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 or 1 2 1 2 1 2 3.
2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Let's see. Does that sound like that? Like it or no?
This sound like, well, so you have your 3, and then you have your 2, but don't forget there's another 2.
Mm.
Because if you leave out the last 2, then you're playing in 5. I know. We're like, what? We're gonna get into that. 5.
Yeah, no, I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
And not all of them has to have a note in it, obviously, right? So
All right. So you have a nice chord progression there. But now what can we do to put it in 7? Right? So you want to think of, let's think in terms of the 1 2 3 1 2 1 2, or 1 2 3, or 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. And then you can play like the same chord, like 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. Right? Like you could play the same chord a couple of times in a row if you want.
right, right. Play it again so I can hear it.
So here, let me give you the chart. I'm going to give you the chart, and then you can look at that and try to come up with something using this chart, okay? So I'll circle this one. And remember, you can do it the other way if you want. But this is the rhythm we're trying to go after right now. Either this way, 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, or we can do 1 2 3 1 2 1 2.
Am I getting it or no?
Yeah, it just sounds like that last chord that you're playing, you're letting it ring out too far, right? But
Oh
you
yeah.
got the idea. You got 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, but you're adding a 4 in at that 3 count just by letting it ring out too long. Does that make sense?
No, I got it. I got it.
Okay. That was it.
That's not the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're getting the idea. I
I
can
get the
definitely,
idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got the idea. It does take a little bit of practice to get used to it. You know, I don't expect you to like go, okay, now I can just play in 7. Dude, that was easy. 7 all the time. All my songs are gonna be in 7. I don't really expect that. You know, I expect you to kind of like, okay, I kind of got this, and you got to work on it a little bit, get better at it, right? And you know, like you look at me, I go, oh yeah, look, see, I'm right into it. But I've also been doing this for 20 years, so
Only 20 years?
yeah. No, I'm trying to think when I like one of the first things I wrote that was in an odd time.
Uh,
It was a long time ago. I don't remember. Honestly, it was a long. I couldn't really tell you how long ago it was, but I remember I played this, and the drummer in my band goes, "Oh, dude, that's in like 7, man." And I'm like, "What? 7? Oh, okay, whatever." And one time I wrote something. He goes, "Dude, that's like 11." And I'm like, I remember that one, the one in 11, because he's like, "We can't play that. That's an 11." And I'm like, "What?
I
We could
just
do
played it.
that." Yeah, I was like, I just played it. It goes like this too. I'll just show you. Oop, I messed it up.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was before I ever heard of the band, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I must have been listening to like Cannibal Corpse or something and wanted to come up with something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun stuff. So that apparently that's an 11. I've never to this day I've never sat down to try to figure out if he was right or not. I just kind of believed him. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, we're using it in the song, so.
Cool, dude.
So we can get into that. I don't want to go into 11 today because that's a lot. That's a pretty heavy one.
Yeah.
But it's basically counting a bunch of threes and then a 2. Right? All right. So let's talk about this 5 one for a moment. Okay, because 5 is basically this it's basically we're doing the same kind of thing, right? Let's look at it like this. We're counting in 4 and we just add 1, right? So we could just strum a chord 1 2 3 4 5, and we're playing in 5.
Easy breeze.
Easy breezy. Yeah. And then we just switch chords. Let's say after 5, we switch to, let's say we're playing E, 1 2 3 4 5, G, 2 3 4 5, E. So, I mean, it just feels like, so the difference between 5 and 7, the way I perceive it, right, is 7 is kind of like we've taken a little bit off of 4. And in 5, it's kind of like we added a piece to 5, or a piece to 4, sorry. Right. So you can feel like there's like something more happening with the 5 than the 7, right? The 7, there's like something missing. And in 5, there's like something added, right? That's a way to look at it to help you understand the rhythm better. But we can do the same thing when we're playing in 5. We could count 1 2 3 1 2. And now thinking in terms of breaking it down like that, we could it'd be very easy for us to come up with rhythms in five and really just keeping the idea of we're playing in this with these accents on the one, right? So 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. Yeah, pretty simple. That's why we go after the seven, and then when we get to five, we go, oh, I can do that. That's easy. All right. So this, I tend to feel people struggle more with seven than five, but it's pretty interesting. So we could play 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 with the five, right? So there's lots of things we can do with this one as well, right? We can do that same, let's say we were playing this riff earlier. That was in seven. Let's say we're writing a song and we want to go back to that riff, but hey, let's play it in five this time. And then we switch back to seven. Back to five. By thinking like in terms like that, it's like, oh, that's all the difference between five and seven is really just like taking off that 1 2 count.
Or add.
And then now it's like, now you're in five, you can play around with that sound, and you can even mess with the listener, right? Like give him something new to hear there, right? Or kind of grab his interest again with that they're like, wait, that just changed. Wait, it just changed again. Oh, that's cool. And you go, whoa, what are these guys doing? So so let's try that out. I want you to pick at least two chords. There's an unlimited amount of chords you can use, but try to take two chords and come up with your own rhythm in five.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be five, right?
Do it again. Well, let's see. 1 2 3. That sounds more like six, but let's see. If you go like, you could do something like 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. But now make sure what you really want to do here is actually count it out. So that way you can see where your change needs to be, where your chord change is going to actually be going back and forth between the two.
Right. 1 2 3 This would be the way to count it, right?
Yeah, see, that's five. I can tell. I can hear that. It was like, whoa. There we go. Yeah. I see, something that simple could be in five, because you're playing 1 2 3 1 2. And you just have that 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1, 2, 3. And that's a cool way to kind of build up to a song. Then let's say you record that, you have that thing going on, but then you could play something over it, right? Like maybe you could do something like, and you see, the thing about five is that it creates this kind of tension. Like it's like, what are we building up to? We're building up to something, but we're not quite getting there. So when we get to the next part, right, we can either resolve it and make it feel like we've completed the thing that we've been building up on, or we keep it going, right? Keep that, keep that tension there. So it's really cool, the stuff we can do with these timings, kind of build up tension and stuff like that.
That's very interesting. So like like an intro, that builds up and then either continue building up, or it goes to like the main song basically, right?
Right. So let's say the main song is in 4, right? But your intro is in 5, and you're using that to build this tension so that when you get there, right, when you get to the main part of the song, let's say it's the chorus. Let's say your verse is in 5, right? And it's just building up this tension. So once you get to the chorus, it's like, oh man, the listener is like, oh, it needed to go there. And then you go back to building up that tension again. They're like, oh, here it comes again. We're in it again. And that's just with timing. We're not even talking about the chords that can build those tension, the chord progressions. And of course, we definitely want to use those if that's what we're trying to do.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun, So I'll send you these charts. This chart here.
Send me homework.
Send you homework. That's right. Because next week we're going to do something else. All right. But yeah, that'll be your homework. I'll send you that chart. And then if anyone wants, I'm going to have a link to get the chart. They can also download it. Okay. So there'll be a link down below. It's on my website to get these charts. Okay. And they definitely make playing a lot easier, understanding these rhythms a lot easier. So do you have any questions?
I just need to practice.
Yes. Yeah. Practice. Have some fun with that. I want to see what kind of cool rhythms you come up with now.
Nice. That's the homework.
That's your homework. Come up with some cool rhythms, right? Maybe take one of these, take a song that you've already made up before, like something that you've written in the past, and then see if you can put like this altered version of it. Like you say, maybe I can take this riff that I've been playing and play it in 7 now instead of 4, and then see what happens when you do that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. What I like to do, and this is some songwriting advice here, is what I like to do first is just find some chords that I like together. Like I play a couple chords and hear how they sound together, and I go, okay, I like the way these sound. Or especially if they sound strange together. Like if I take like this chord and that chord, I mean, these guys don't match at all. But okay, so I'm like, all right, this is a challenge. I'm going to take these 2 chords and see what I can do with them. And then let's say we do something in 7. So I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's a total tension builder. That's a great way that I could actually see as an outro to a song, right? Or something, right? So we can get into chords that can do that can create that next time. All right. So that way we have the timing that builds our tension, right? And then we have the timing that fixes that tension. And then we can just start looking at some chord progressions that will also help build that tension and then let it go.
Sounds good.
All right. So practice. Make sure your guitar's in tune. Okay. And
well, I'll double check it.
Yeah, no worries. All right. And then I'll see you next week then.
All right, dude. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. We'll do it again.
All right. Definitely.